every year we have like a topic and we invite students to solve problems, to get ideas, to get to know each other, but also to get to know the city.
I hope that we will have ideas that inspire to perhaps go a bit further on, to open the minds, to broaden the views on what we are normally doing in architecture and planning.
This year's topic is minimal dwelling as urban practice. A topic that is somehow very important for us as an IBA, but I think it's also like a very general topic that is widely discussed within society.
I studied in Hong Kong and I live in Korea. I couldn't imagine what minimal living could mean in Germany.
Minimal living in the future would be living on a very small place and with less things.
And I understand that minimal living is not just about how small the space can be, but it's how you maximize the usage of space.
Straße is, I think, a very, very interesting area for Stuttgart. It's kind of on the edge of Stuttgart, so that's what we call this at the summer school, like right on the edge of Stuttgart. It's mainly housing, and it's mainly housing from like right after the Second World War. So you have 50s row housing structures, not very dense, with a lot of green, but with a lot of green that is not really used. There are already people, it's not like a wasteland or something, but there is a high-rise that is inhabited by people who have difficulties during their life and were at the moment homeless.
If you start a project, it's always quite important to get on site and to get as much information and input as possible.
Hello and welcome again. I'd like to introduce you now our tiny little house. The problem we have is the house is about 50 years old and the rooms for itself are very small. It's 11 square meters and about the half of the house we have elder people here where we think that they are not able to go back into the normal life.
But then together they work in this beautiful garden, who is also part of the high-rise. And so that's also when we started to discuss about this topic, about minimal dwelling as urban practice. So to say, okay, you have a very, very minimal living space for yourself, a very minimal private space, but you have a public space or a green space, greenery landscape.
I was working on a project called How to Commons, and that was about activating the public space and trying to bring people together in these outdoor spaces and get them to interact.
The idea about commons is that you have to have a group of people cooperating together, and so new relationships may be formed in a newly developing neighborhood.
So for our project, we worked and interviewed some of the neighbours and the people that would use this space, and the concept was to get people from the different houses to come together and interact with each other and also interact with their open space and utilise that a bit better. So we built some structures and moved them around the site and sort of collected some neighbours and things along the way and engaged with them and learnt from them what they liked and what they didn't like. And using things like board games and badminton and games like that was good because the language barrier wasn't a thing. You could sit with people that didn't speak your language and just enjoy socialising and coming together without even needing to talk.
Well, right now here, like we are finishing up the exhibition, presenting the results of this week's workshop.
As we increasingly live with less and less personal space, it's this space of the city which becomes more and more important. It's the green space, it's the space outside of our personal homes and our private courtyards.
We want to apply this theory to the idea of shared living.
We're planning not by a top-down approach, but from the feeling of different characters that might exist around the neighborhood.
What we thought about is a linear structure, and this has certain benefits. Well, first of all, it doesn't block the view to the Feuerbach, which is something that can also work in an interesting and contemporary way.
I think the advantage of this, the summer school is international network that is being built up right now here. There are new perspectives on urban planning and architecture practices as we do it here from like an international point of view.
I joined the IBA Summer School because I was interested in learning more about minimal dwellings and how we can challenge the idea of what's an acceptable size to live comfortably, and to sort of come together with people from different countries and learn from them about how they live.
Our summer school projects are kind of a funny explosion of hypotheses that are produced in a very short time.
IBA is challenged with looking at new ideas for people to live in the city. Some of those ideas are perhaps on the walls that the students have started to work with, but I think they're probably ideas that are quite close to our hearts, and perhaps we actually know the answer about how we might live in the city.